This case has a lot of strategy involved in it. It started out with the first line of strategy came from the prosecution when they chose to charge Darlie with only one of the murders of Damon, because he was under 5 years old at the time, and that would have carried the biggest penalty, the death penalty. Even though the case was clearly about Devin and Damon, even Darlie says so in the last defense. The strategy was to charge her with the bigger penalty. In 2002, I believe 2002, when Rob Key left his affidavit, it's around the same time Darin left his affidavit. And I want to speculate on why they tried to shift the blame off of Darlie and onto Darin. And it started with Darin. I believe this is a strategy. He wrote this writ around the time of her appeal. So, just looking at it, my name is Darlie Routier. I am over the age of 21 and I reside in McKinney, Texas. I am capable and fully competent to make this affidavit. The statements herein are true and correct to the best of my personal knowledge. I am the husband of petitioner Darlie Routier. In 1994, I spoke to a person about my Jaguar automobile. In that conversation, I said that it wouldn't bother me if the Jaguar was stolen. The person then stole that Jaguar. My question is, who is this the person? Darin never mentions any names, and that's very important. This Jaguar was the white Jaguar, not the blue-colored one that he had. That was broken down. This was the white Jaguar, and to the best of my knowledge, it resides in Hamilton, Ohio. Beja spoke clearly about having this thing stolen. Darlie knew all about it, having it stolen, but they don't mention the name of the person. In March or April of 1996, I asked my father-in-law, Robbie Gene Key, if he knew anyone who would agree to burglarize my home. Let's just stop and look at this. Why would he feel comfortable asking his father-in-law, who, hey man, can you help me commit a crime? I'll tell you why he would feel comfortable if this ever happened. It's because Robbie Gene Key, has been convicted of grand theft. A truck. Look it up. Why would you ask your father-in-law something like that if you didn't feel comfortable? I said that I would arrange for my family to be absent from the home at 5801 Eagle Drive, that someone who I would hire would come into the house, take away the furniture and other items from my house in a U-Haul. Everybody noticed the black car. Everybody saw that black car slowing down, coming around, but nobody would see a U-Haul. Makes no sense. And then I would then pay that person proceeds from resulting insurance. Now, between March 96 and May 96, I told multiple people of my planned insurance scam. Notice he never names these people. In the late evening, June 5, I had a verbal disagreement with my wife, Darlie Routier. During that discussion, my wife asked me for a marital separation. Well, right here, by this sentence alone, he's admitting that they lied in their initial report. They didn't say anything about arguing that night in the initial report. Nothing. Dream about me. He gave me a kiss and went to bed. But now he comes back and admits that he lied. And Darlie lied on that first initial report. They lied. They started out with a lie. Here's the fact. Why would they keep it out that they were having a discussion about a marital separation? Because if they came in there and said, well, what happened? What happened before you guys, what happened right before? Well, we had an argument and I asked my husband for a separation. And then an hour later, your kids come up dead. And you're a cop. You just heard this. What's that going to lead you to believe? That the crime happened from someone inside the house. Just like James Cron said, after about 30 minutes of being there, he never said, oh, Darlie did it. Nope, he did not say that. They try to tell you that James Cron walked right in that scene and said Darlie did it. No, what he said was, this looks like an inside job. This looks like staging. He never said Darlie did this right off the bat. He didn't. I first met with attorney Douglas Mulder in July 1996. I met at least once a week with Mr. Mulder in July 96. The subject of the meetings was Mulder's potential representation of my wife and I in her criminal trial. I continued to meet with Mr. Mulder in August 1996. During one of the meetings I had with Mulder in August 1996, he told me that the court-appointed attorneys for my wife's case, these are the ones that set it up for her to have a lie detector test outside of the presence of the court without the prosecution's knowledge. Okay? Wayne Huff and Douglas Parks had confided in him that they were going to try and portray me as the person of the murder of my sons Damon and Devin because they thought I had something to do with the death of my sons. Darlie's own attorneys, Wayne Huff and Douglas Parks, felt like there was no intruder in that house. James Cron felt like there was no intruder in that house. To this day, we have no evidence that there was an intruder in that house. Now, if her own attorneys are talking to other attorneys about, well, if she didn't do it, her husband did. It's because right off the rip, people knew that there was no intruder in that house, including her own counsel. I told Mulder that if we hired him, I did not want him to go after me. Why not? Why not, Darin? If they go after you, they will just investigate it and find that you had nothing to do with it. Mulder agreed that if hired to represent my wife, he would not argue as part of the defense that I was in any way responsible for the death of my children. Between July 1996 and September 1996, I continued to meet regularly with Mr. Mulder on September 30, 1996. Mulder represented me at a show cause hearing before Judge Toll, where the state of Texas alleged that I violated a gag order. They didn't allege it. You did violate it in a criminal case against me. Now, it's very interesting that Darin never names these people, right? He never names these people, and they keep and they keep throwing out this story. It's a deflection. Well, Darin said he was going to have people rob the house. He asked multiple people. Darin said this and Darin said that. But he never mentions the multiple people. Why are the family claiming that it could have been a robbery, right? But not a one of them is demanding that Darin name these people. Not a one of them. You would assume that as nasty as these people can be towards people who, as non-supporters, that they would be demanding that he name these people. Because if he named these people that he talked to, they would go to him and investigate. That's why he's not naming these people. This is a deflection. It started with the last defense. We noticed it right away when we were watching the last defense, when Darlie said, well, I found out about things that I didn't know about back then. Talking about Darin, and she knew damn well about that first home invade or Jaguar being stolen. And in my opinion, she knew that they tried to get him to. They tried to get Beja to help with a home robbery, right? But it's all a deflection. I'm telling you, this is all a deflection because he said enough in here to implicate himself, right? To implicate himself without being charged. I would suggest to the Rowlett Police Department and people that were investigating this case that they investigate this. Who did he ask? Because we want to find out that he's lying. He didn't ask nobody none of this stuff. It's a deflection. And we noticed right away when she said, I found out about things that I didn't know about back then. First thing came to my mind is, well, they ain't got nothing else, so now it's time to point at Darin. See, because when I was a supporter, I honestly thought that Darin did this and had it set up. And I said so. Back then, they would not allow you to accuse Darin any way, shape, or form. You get booted from the group for that. I got booted from one free Darlie for that. Okay? But now if you look at how things are today, they're trying to shift the blame off of Darlie onto Darin subtly. Right? And Darin could still be charged if they had evidence against him. It seems to me like that the supporters would really be pushing on Darin and going after Darin like, why did you ask people to come in the house? You got our nieces and nephews and my grandkids killed. Why? And it's never happened. It's never happened. They go after everybody in this case who speaks up, against her innocence. Even the investigators and all that. They go against everybody, talking about how stupid they are, blah, 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 blah. But none of them has ever questioned these multiple people that he's supposed to have asked. Why has nobody got in his ass? Because they know it's a strategy. They know this never happened. It never happened. He can't name anybody. He can't. Name those people that you asked. Name those multiple people that you talked to about it. Name them. Then the Rowlett Police Department, who they say wasn't doing their job, can actually go do their job and find out that he's lying. I'll tell you the difference. Back in the day, Free Darlie, which was mine, that group, we weren't allowed to mention Darin as a suspect at all. Never. And David Moffat, who runs Free Darlie, was one of the biggest advocates of that. How dare you blame Darin? How dare you? You really are insane. He still runs that group today. And this is what it looks like. This is all, anything posted by Free Darlie Routier is from David Moffat. We all know about his convictions of internet terrorism. We all know about his obsession with Darlie, how he just wanted to lightly brush her hair. He actually posted things like that. The janitor to God. He and Darlie, he was going to free her and they were going to run off into the fields and frolicking. We all saw it, us old timers. We've seen how David Moffat was doing. I brought up his convictions for internet terrorism. I mean, it is what it is. He was obsessed with her. I got accused of being obsessed with her. And Darlie herself said that that was a lie. But now, back in the day, they weren't allowed to speak about Darin in the crime. But now that they have nothing else, and I'm assuming that the Innocence Project in New York is also going to back out on this. They're talking about Darin in this video. Yep. I like her. Now, Free Darlie is promoting having Darin investigated. Before, you were never allowed to say this. You were never allowed to implicate Darin. Never on this page. Never once. George Barwood is a fucking nutcase. He buys Jodi Arias' art. He's in love with Jodi. Look on YouTube. George Barwood goes on HLN and watch our buddy, Vinnie Politan, because we were talking to him during this interview. He's a friend of Molly Golightly's. But watch how Vinnie Politan just owns him. George Barwood on HLN. YouTube. Now, see, back in the day, and I know this is Dave Moss writing, back in the day, you'd be kicked out of the group for saying anything like that. They thought they had enough evidence to show her innocent without implicating Darin. And it started when on the last defense. This is when this all started. And somebody got smart right there. I want to see some of these comments. See, they're doing a real good job of implicating Darin. Even the free Darlie groups are doing it now. They never used to do it. See, they're trying to make it look like Darin had did this. Yep. This was a no-no back in the day. You would never implicate Darin. Never. They kicked me out of a group for saying, well, I always thought Darin did it. That's all I said. And then I fired this group up. Right here. I started this group. And then I just kept on seeing the lies and the lies and the lies. And I don't know if the post is even available, but I just posted in here, hey, I can't do this anymore, so I'm giving it to Dave Moff. And I left. I kicked Pam out of this group, Christy out of this group. See, look. And you notice remember, this is the guy that's writing this. He's totally in love with her. And we called him out on it. We showed it. See how they're trying to implicate Darin? And he's using words like found hidden in the laundry room. Well, if it was hidden, it wouldn't be in the fucking laundry room with stains on it. Duh. See how it started on the last defense. And right there, you see it. Yeah, this is definitely Dave Moff. Just what you do is when you read this, just take out the word Darin and put Darlie in there. And remember, he would have to do this without leaving the dog locked upstairs. How does he remove Darlie's panties without her knowing? That doesn't stage a sex attack just by taking her panties off. She was wearing a fucking Victoria's Secret's nightgown. She had no reason to have panties on. We don't even. They say they're missing. Well, okay, we never saw where they were not missing. And Darlie couldn't hear it. Darlie sits up and watches the man, Darin, walk away from her. Darlie specifically said, Darin is, my husband is not the man I saw. Why could Darin have not heard that from upstairs? Those were crystal glasses. They have a high pitch. Nope. Darin said that she was at the bottom of the stairs when he came down, and she said that too. Passing Damon to get to Devin, who was already dead. No. She was going Devin, 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 Devin at Darin. He didn't need an excuse because she led him there. Oh my God, he's dead. Yeah, they're dying. No, Darin did not run upstairs because as Waddell pulled up, Darin was in the yard, and that was testified to by Gorsuch, the neighbor across the street. He saw it. He heard the sirens. He looked out his window. Darin was out there as Waddell pulled up and stepped out of his car and drew his gun. Darin goes upstairs when he hears Waddell pull up. How many times? He was not upstairs. He did not lie about meeting him outside. Gorsuch. Yeah, Gorsuch. he might not have been able to find the pulse. Clinging to life. Karen and Neil and them testified that Darin was standing in the door. Jumped the fence in the backyard with a cop there. No motion detector lights. They stayed on for 18 minutes when the police did it. This is the support. The next 3 hours. We all know that Darin sat on the curb for 30 minutes. And then Terry Neal drove him in Darlie's Pathfinder to the hospital. See, if she got at the hospital at 3:25, right, and they're saying that Darin didn't get there until 6 something in the morning, wrong. Go look at the testimony. Darin was there. His source is thermoset. She gave that false statement about the black car. How did he know so soon? Because the 911 call came out an hour before that, and the lead detective heard that there was a murder, so he got his ass up out of the bed. How did Darlie find out he had herpes? Because she told him. Since Patterson never took the stand, he took the fifth. He took the fifth when he was accused of a crime. See, look. Let's take a look at this video. This is they're really trying to.
It seems like the very first thing that I remember hearing is a glass break. It seems like the very first thing that I remember hearing is a glass break. It seems like the very first thing that I remember hearing is a glass break.
I was asleep upstairs, and I didn't hear a sound from the boys. I didn't hear a sound from Darlie until she started screaming. That was asleep upstairs, and I didn't hear a sound from the boys. I didn't hear a sound from Darlie until she started screaming.
What he says is he didn't hear a sound from Darlie.
The first thing that I was thinking through my mind is that this glass break, I thought when I went to bed, Damon, the youngest one, was underneath the table. And that he must have popped the glass table up, and the glass table must have broke and hurt Devin.
It's not a faint glass breaking. It's a crystal glass that broke on the floor.
And the next thing I hear was this glass break, but far away. And the next thing I hear was this glass break, but far away.
They're trying really hard, ain't they? Wow, that's interesting. Just go look at Free Darlie now. You notice that Darlie Key used to be in this group. They all used to. I just wanted to show you how things have changed. There you go. That's how things have changed today.